I might be deported because I'm a naturalized citizen. And Stephen Miller, who is Donald Trump's deputy chief of staff, has said that they're going to embark on a denaturalization program. So I could be deported, my citizenship could be taken away, and my children could be deported because they have birthright citizenship. So this is not what the country voted for. Let's be very clear. Americans voted for Trump because of groceries, because of lowering costs. He has not talked about that one bit. What this country did not vote for is to deport the 11 million undocumented immigrants who do critical work for our economy, who have injected $7 trillion into our economy. And what Americans want is a solution to immigration. They want expanded legal pathways, and they do want more stronger, smart border security, which is exactly what Democrats are talking about. And Democrats have always been the ones willing to work with Republicans on a solution, and it's been Republicans that have always pulled the rug from under our feet.
Wow. Did you see that guy's face there? He was realizing that he was listening to 60 seconds of absolute patent nonsense. What you just heard there, what we all just heard there with that poor fellow sitting there in front of Jim Acosta, the Acostinator, what we were all subject to was probably the single worst moment of gaslighting ever attempted. That CNN contributor, that hysterical excuse for a political analyst, whoever she is the very definition of why no one watches CNN anymore, why they're experiencing their worst ratings in 30 years. And it's an example of the irrational panic that's starting to overwhelm the Democrats as they realize that Donald J. Trump is indeed about to get every single member of his dream team cabinet confirmed. And there's absolutely nothing that hysterical Democrats like that can do to stop the rise of the MAGA empowered golden age. Greetings, everyone. It is a live stream Monday night. I am your host, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to give you a front row seat on the rise of the new golden age. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button as we always do on Monday nights. We'll be here on YouTube for 15, 20 minutes or so. And then we are off to our censorship-free exclusive live stream platform. So if you want to join me over there to have some wonderful, sweet fellowship and scholarly discussion, please scan that QR code. Over there, scan that QR code or click in the link in the description below. For a very small fee per month, you can have access to our exclusive live Q&As, exclusive content, exclusive conversations and meetups, our exclusive offers. It's a very, very exclusive club. So click on that link below or scan that QR code to become a member of the Courageous Conservatives Club, where we are restoring the pillars of faith, family, and freedom as we usher in together the rise of a new conservative age. So that panic that you just heard on CNN not only was patently false. I mean, I don't think she actually said an honest word there. Maybe in terms of the economy, she's admitting Democrats destroyed the economy, but voters, I'm sorry, I don't know what she's smoking. I don't know what she's trying to do here. Voters overwhelmingly want mass deportations. Every single poll, every single survey shows that. We're talking averages of around 60% support, okay? 6 in 10. That woman you just heard represents at best only about 40% of the country, which are all basically Democrats, are of course concerned that they're about to lose a number of their voters in the mass deportation, certainly their future voters. But regardless, that panic you just heard there wasn't just false. It wasn't just a fabrication of reality. It was also a very real realization that the Democrats are literally on the verge of losing everything. And I mean everything. We're talking, they're going to lose the deep state. They're going to lose the national security agencies, the FBI. They're going to lose the Justice Department. They're going to lose Health and Human Services. They're going to lose CDC. They're going to lose the National Institutes of Health. They're going to lose the Defense Department. They're going to lose the whole of the administrative state. You name it. They are literally on the cusp of losing everything they have built for over a century. And that's precisely because it's now being widely acknowledged that Trump is going to get his dream team cabinet confirmed. Senator Tom Cotton was on Fox News the other day. Do we have that video?
Real quick, Pete Hegseth seems to have gotten momentum behind him, but you're in Washington. You talk to these senators. You go to lunch in the cafeteria together. So is he on track? Is he gaining momentum?
Brian, I expect a Republican Senate is going to confirm all of a Republican president-elect's nominees. I had a good meeting last week with Pete Hegseth and with Pam Bondi. I know many of these nominees. 2 Arkansans have been nominated as ambassadors: Marco Rubio, Kelly Loeffler. Doug Collins and I served together. In fact, if you go back 32 years to Bill Clinton's transition, there are only 2 nominees out of 72 cabinet secretary nominees in which senators of the president-elect's party voted against him. So no one should be surprised that a Republican Senate is going to confirm the Republican president-elect's cabinet secretaries.
And just to underscore that, Tom Cotton later retweeted that declaration out. Every single one of Trump's cabinet nominees will indeed be confirmed by the Republican Senate. Here's Pete Hegseth on his latest meeting with Joni Ernst.
It was a very good meeting with the Senate. The more you spend, I've known her for 10 years. The more we talk, we're reminded of, as 2 combat veterans, how dedicated we are to defense. She has been dedicated to make the Pentagon work for warfighters for a long time. Had great, extensive conversations about that. Commitment to the process, and we look forward to working together.
So things have really seemed to have turned around for Pete, which is just awesome. It looks like he's safe now. It's a done deal. It looked really precarious last week. Now it looks like it's turned to all of them. Again, all of them, as Senator Tom Cotton affirmed, looks like they are a done deal. Now, if that's the case, this is huge, because it means that we're going to see a fundamental reform of our federal government, a reform that we've needed for some time now. Talking about a bloated, rotten system to its core. And we've talked a bit of how Trump's new team, these Avengers, are going to do that. First and foremost, we do have to foreground DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, Vivek and Elon, what they have planned in terms of just completely dismantling the federal government and the way it operates. I mean, it's the boldest plan that we have ever seen in our lifetimes, if not ever in the history of our nation, to be honest with you. Both Elon and Vivek detailed their plans in a very transparent manner in a recent Wall Street Journal op-ed. We talked about this last week, where they laid out their strategy for all to see on how they are going to completely dismantle the administrative state. It's a very detailed plan, but it's a detailed plan, but it does boil down to 2 verticals, as it were, 2 major steps. They're first going to make tons of jobs disappear, and then secondly, send pink slips to all the bureaucrats that used to work at those jobs that no longer exist. So they're going to first use the power of the presidency to issue a number of executive orders to dismantle the agencies and regulations that have surpassed Congress and the courts. That's key. So they've surpassed Congress and the courts. The reason why Congress and the courts are so important here is that we had 2 rulings for the Supreme Court of late that would, in effect, allow the executive branch to dismantle much of the administrative state. So we're talking the recent Chevron decision that overturned the Chevron doctrine that had empowered the administrative state in the courts, and that all courts across the country were supposed to defer to the technical expertise of these bureaucrats in all these regulatory agencies So we've got that. That is now done. That's returned power to the courts, as it were, with the overturning of Chevron. And then we also have West Virginia versus the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. This is from back in 2022. And that decision says that agencies are not allowed to impose regulations dealing with major economic or policy questions unless Congress specifically authorizes them to do so. So these are the two Supreme Court decisions that both Vivek and Elon cite in their Wall Street Journal article. One dealing with a blow to the administrative state at the level of the courts. That's the overturning of the Chevron doctrine. And the other dealing a blow to the administrative state at the level of Congress. And that now Congress, bureaucrats have to get express permission from Congress to institute and enforce regulations. So what DOJ will be doing is using executive orders to dismantle the administrative state and reallocate those functions to the legislature and to the courts so that they can never be usurped again by a later executive order. So as long as all the functions of the executive administrative state are reallocated, particularly to Congress, but also to the courts, a later president can't come around and just reallocate those functions back to the executive level. He would need the permission of Congress to do that. So an executive order, a later executive order trying to reassemble the deep state is not, the administrative state is not going to work. So that's how Elon and Vivek are going to dismantle the administrative state. It's pretty brilliant. And then they'll institute the second vertical, which is easy. And that's for them to fire all personnel in accordance with the amount of regulatory and administrative cuts that were dismantled by executive order in the first vertical. So it's perfect. In other words, you can't expect to keep a job that no longer exists. And that most likely will get around the legal challenges, the legal hurdles that tend to protect bureaucrats since their jobs simply won't exist anymore. And in many ways, we needed those two Supreme Court decisions in order to eliminate those jobs simply by executive order. So the executive order is going to send power back to Congress, but an executive order can't wrench it back later on in case a Democrat wins and wants to try to reassemble the administrative state. So that's DOJ, and that's what they're going to do. And then, of course, we've got Kash Patel at the head of the FBI. That's going to be unbelievable. I mean, talk about, buttered popcorn every night. We're going to gain so much weight. My heavens. Kash, as I understand it, he has 3 verticals that he's implementing, 3 major goals that he wants to implement as FBI director. First and foremost, he's planning on a geographic relocation of the FBI. Kash sees that as absolutely essential for changing the culture within the agency. So that's the first order of business. He's going to move them out of the J. Edgar Hoover building. He said he's going to actually turn the J. Edgar Hoover building into a monument to the deep state on like day 1. So he's going to change the location of the agency, relocate it most likely into the heart of a solid red state like Arkansas, and thereby change the culture, the ethos of the agency to reflect more red state values. So that's the first thing. He's going to move the FBI out of Washington, D.C. Secondly, he's going to break up and distribute a lot of their concentrated power. So that would involve breaking up some of the agencies and outsourcing them to other investigative bodies throughout the federal government, such like what we have with Homeland Security. Actually, the Treasury has investigative bodies and the like. So there's a possibility of breaking up the FBI into 4 or 5 agencies. I've read some proposals on that. I don't know if Kash is going to do that particularly. But again, the idea here is to break up the concentrated power of the agency so you could break the FBI up into more or less 4 or 5 separate agencies. So one responsible for counterintelligence, one responsible for counterterrorism, one for white-collar crime, one for cyber crimes, and the like. And then thirdly, there's the essential component of transparency and declassification. Kash has promised to establish a 24/7 declassification office, and this would involve releasing the files on the Kennedy assassination once and for all, as they were supposed to be released, as I understand it. He's going to release all the files on 9/11. This is all for aiming at greater transparency in government operations, but also, let's be blunt, it's about exposing the FBI as an agent of the deep state. Now, what are you going to say, right? Now, with everyone being able to see, with this total transparency of the files open up to the world, I mean, that's just going to be huge, absolutely huge, and taking down the deep state. There's no hiding anymore. Again, they tend to accumulate power by virtue of cloaking, and that cloaking will be gone. So, in exposing the various ways in which the deep state has undermined the democratic integrity of our republic, darkness hates light, right? Cash is going to be hugely effective in shining light 24/7 on the agency and helping to reform it and to bring it back to health, as it were. And of course, there's so much more in terms of how this dream team of Avengers are going to change government. But that is why we have to go to our own exclusive backstage platform. So Micah, our producer, Micah, you there?
Yep, I'm here. Oh,
you want to read everybody the instructions of what to do, and maybe we can do a question or two as well.
Yes, we have our own private live stream. So if you guys want to go to our Monday night Q&A follow this link or scan the QR code, and you get to join Dr. Steve's exclusive club, where you get to join over 5,000 other patriots who weekly get to involve themselves at this Q&A and actually get their questions answered by Dr. Steve. So if you have any questions about what Dr. Steve has covered in any of his videos today, or you have any random question, what's Dr. Steve's favorite color, anything like that, you get to learn all that awesome stuff. And we also have a lot of awesome content in our app that you can join, and our different levels. You have a lot of different benefits that you get to reap if you join our exclusive live stream by signing up using the QR code or the link below. My name is Micah, by the way. I'm the producer of our Courageous Conservative Club, and this is our Monday night Q&A. So welcome if this is your first time. We've got about 5,000 viewers live across all platforms, so that's very exciting. And if just a few of you want to join and check out our live Q&A that we have going on right after this, then please do. So we're going to start. If you want to, pause the video, scan the QR code, go to the link, that would be great on all platforms. If you're on X, you might want to go over to YouTube and find that link in the description, or scan the QR code there. So we're going to start. We're going to do a couple questions first, and then we're going to head on over to our private live stream. So we have a bunch of our great courageous conservatives who have asked some questions, and we have one from Richard Maynard. Where he says, Dr. Steve, I saw a video today where Senator Tom Cotton predicted all of Trump's cabinet picks will be confirmed. Your thoughts? So I guess, Richard, or people that are just joining, what is the 10-second summary that you have for Richard here?
Oh yeah, well, we're thinking along the same lines, but yeah, Tom Cotton made it very clear that they're all getting confirmed. I think in many ways, the Senate Republicans thought this was 2016 all over again. They thought they could basically bully Trump. He didn't know what he was doing. He didn't have a lot of allies in 2016. Ted Cruz didn't like. Ted Cruz refused to endorse him. Right? This is a whole different Trump. This is Trump with not just a lot of allies. This is a Trump with a mandate. This is a Trump who just won the popular vote. This is a Trump who basically won the biggest landslide election for a Republican since 84. I would not count 88, because 88, George Herbert Walker Bush basically borrowed Reagan's coalition and then quickly, in a matter of months, destroyed it. So I think they did their best. Well, we could talk about Matt Gaetz and the role Matt Gaetz had in all of this. But I think the Republicans in the Senate did their best to make this into 2016 again, where they did kind of smack Trump around and he didn't really know what he was doing. And so they were able to mock him and ridicule him and get their own people in. They found out very quickly that's not happening now. He is getting his team in. That includes Pete Hegseth. That includes Tulsi. that includes RFK Jr., and they're going to have to suck on it.
Awesome. Thanks, Richard, for the question. We have Guy Brandow, who asks, "Hi, Dr. Steve. Do you know where you can find the best Christian markets?
Kindermarkt.
Chris Kindle Mark in the United States, particularly New York, Long Island, or around the tri-state area?"
That's a great question. I was just at a wonderful one in Philadelphia. I don't know if you've been to the Philly Christmas market. Have you done that, Micah?
I don't know if I've been to Philly during Christmas. Actually, that would be a new
It's
experience for
beautiful.
me.
So they do it in the city hall. The city hall has a courtyard, and it opens up, and so they've got lots of shops. Of course, they've got a whole hall of trees. They've got what do you call it? Merry-go-rounds and Ferris wheels, and it was wonderful. And they have all kinds of drinks and foods, and so we were there visiting my daughter, and my wife and we had a lovely time. Let's see. I mean, I always love going into Manhattan, but just around the Christmas time. Well, no, I don't, because the crowds are horrible. But I just like the vibe of Manhattan in general. But if you want to venture out of that tri-state area and just head down a little bit south to Philly, I think you'll find it's worth it. It's really quite lovely.
Yeah, that's awesome. I go to Philly a lot, but I would love to, I guess, in New York, I'm sure there are some in Long Island if you can find them, but based on our limited tri-state area experience, we might not be getting up to Long Island. So we'll have to get back to you on that, Guy. We have a question from Sherry. What happened to General Flynn as part of the cabinet? Last summer at a rally, Trump told him to stand by. Have you heard anything?
I have not. I thought the same thing too, Sherry. I just have a feeling that General Flynn is part of his inner circle. It may not be formal. It could be an informal advisor. But we will see. We will see. He's not done appointing his cabinet yet. I mean, it's huge what he's done. I mean, you could be appointing you could be nominating, I should say, candidates for months after January 20th. I mean, that's the norm. So the idea of him putting together this massive cabinet ahead of time, it's Biden certainly didn't do this. And then in fairness, Trump 2016, Trump 1.0 didn't do this either. This is all stuff that came relatively late.
It's a great question, Sherry. It is in the kind of lost in the shuffle. Some of the other names that have, we've got Kash Patel and, oh my word, Pete Hegseth.
Yeah. No, it's incredible.
Forget about some of the early people that have been there the whole time.
Yeah.
We've got a great question. This might transition us over to our private Q&A, but maybe we'll this will be our last question. How about that before we transfer? So I'll give you guys one more chance to scan that QR code or click the link below. But we're going to answer this question from Terry really quick. Julie Kelly reports that prosecutions and even arrests continue regarding the January 6th event, with judges agreeing to these continued prosecutions. Why can't we hope to see some removals from the bench through the impeachment process?
Yeah. Or even just this this judge in the Daniel Penny case, which was just a travesty of justice, and Merchant as well, with both dealing with Alvin Bragg and Manhattan. It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to the nuances of getting rid of these rogue jurists, these rogue judges. I don't know what the nuance. I don't know what the procedure would be for that. All I can say is that big picture, this is going to be the biggest overturning of the federal system we've seen in our lifetimes. We've just never seen. I mean, in many respects, we're going to see the government brought into our new 21st century era. We're going to see a government that is America first all the way through. And that's going to have to include the judiciary. I know, but I have not heard of anything specifically. Now, remember, Trump was a master at appointing judges. This was the one thing McConnell did well back in his first term, 2017 to 2021. But and so he did a great job putting on some great judges. But there's a lot of stinkers in there. And J6, I don't know what they're doing with J's. Again, this is just part of it. Just seems it's a last hurrah. It's just, it's throwing the gold overboard. I mean, it's just this last hurrah of just trying to harass enough people as possible before Trump gets in. But he said on Meet the Press on Sunday, he's going to pardon all J6ers on January 20th. He said they've suffered enough. We're done. We're turning a page. We're not going back, as some candidacies would say.
Yes, the perfect candidacies would say. Exactly.
So they just yeah, right. So they just have to they just have to stick it through literally for just another 5-6 weeks. That's it. God bless them. Pray for them, and that's it. And they'll be released. And I'm sure the stories we're going to be hearing about how they were treated are going to be horrific, and maybe that could be then used as a way to kind of reverse engineer and try to get rid of all those nuts from the deep state. I'm sure Doge would be happy to get rid of them.
Yeah. Speaking of the penny case that you mentioned in that answer, how about this, guys? I'll throw you guys a bone. We're gonna make this the last question. I know I'll keep teasing, but we'll make I know a lot of you have just seen the verdict and you're coming in to live stream, so we'll talk about this for a little bit to wrap it up before we head over to our private Q&A, where we can talk uncensored about anything that you guys would like. Election interference, any corruption, anything that YouTube might not necessarily like us talking about. So Bert asks, hi, Dr. Steve, do you think the election of Trump had any impact on the penny case?
I do, Bert. I do very, very much. I think we have to be honest that had Dan done this, say, in the fall of 2020, he would have been sent to prison as a sacrificial lamb. So this would have been after the race riots, George Floyd riots. This would have been a time that BLM, this would have been when Mitt Romney is marching in BLM parades and with their stupid masks on. And, I think had this happened in 2020 and 2021, maybe even 2022, Dan would be in prison right now. He would have been sent to prison as a sacrificial lamb. I think Trump is really bringing an end to wokeness as we've known it. He's bringing an end to DEI. He's bringing an end to BLM. He's bringing an end to Rhino Republicans. He's bringing an end to what we call, and I talk about in my book here, post-normal times. Post-normal times is the interim period between the no longer and the not yet, right? It's an interim period between an age that is coming to an end, of which BLM is a part, and a new age of civilizationalism and nationalism, populism, traditionalism. I think even what we saw in Syria over the weekend is in many respects part of that age, with the rise of theocracies, particularly constitutional theocracies and the like. And the period of post-normality defines the strangeness of this interim period between a age that's collapsing and falling apart, but a new age that has yet to really establish itself. I think we're seeing the new age finally establish itself, and Trump, more than any other political figure, has helped in that to bring about that establishment. So the more a new age of civilizationalism, traditionalism, conservatism is officially established and grows, the golden age, as he referred to it, the more wokeness will completely melt and fade away.
Yeah, this is the only transition that I can get behind. Is this this age that we're living in right now?
That's right. This is the one transition I will be behind. That's right.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of comments in the YouTube chat, and I can see all those as well as our members, so don't worry. But I'm seeing a lot of talking about Derek Chauvin and the that gets dicey. But the initial corner reports of of what that happened. And I
Yes.
think I fully agree with you about the sacrificial lamb.
The sacrificial lamb. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's going to have to be addressed. Justice requires it. Again, this is probably something we might have to talk about in
Right,
our
exactly.
on the
Yeah.
other side in our own private
Yeah.
platform here. But absolutely, guys, we're tracking perfectly. No more sacrificial lambs. This is human. There was only one sacrificial lamb that took away the sins of the world. No more. And so, absolutely, that's going to have to be addressed. Yes.
Well, if Daniel Penny had happened, during the riots, he would have been offered up. Absolutely. And it's
Yep.
just an endless regression. It just, there
Yep.
is not enough penance that could be
No,
paid
it'll never
to an
stop.
angry mob will never be satisfied. Really.
Exactly right. It'll
They'll
never
keep
stop
getting
by
angry.
definition, because there is no forgiveness in wokeness.
Right.
There is no forgiveness. So it would keep going. It would claim one victim. I mean, we would be basically Aztecs. We would have a form of human sacrifice. That's basically what it would be. Now, we're not bringing them upstairs and taking out their hearts, but we are sending them to prison. We are deplatforming. We're excommunicating them in some way, shape, or form. But the gods of wokeness must be appeased, and they do not forgive. And thank God, Trump it looks like he has destroyed those gods.
Yeah, exactly. I saw this will wrap us up really quick, but I saw there's a Twitter or an X account that is Santa, and he keeps a list, and it's naughty and nice, and he just posts like random, and it's like Black Lives Matter. You're on the naughty list. It's great. It's so good. I get him occasionally.
I did just see a very funny meme of
Yeah.
Trump in Home Alone 2 when little Kevin's there in his cap asking for directions when he's at the Plaza Hotel, and then the next picture underneath is Zelensky in a little cap, kind of looking small up at Trump as well. I think
down the hall to the left.
Down the hall to the left. That's right. That's
so
right.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, and you just think like a month ago he was working at McDonald's. Now he's here. It's awesome.
That's
the American dream.
That's
all right, gang. Well, we're gonna go to our uncensored Q&A. So I'll be putting up this. I'll put up this QR code for the next 30 seconds, and I'll just explain some of the things that you get if you were to sign up. So you'll be able to take part in every Q&A that we hold, and there are multiple levels to this. So our base level is $10 a month, which is all the Q&A, all your basic things that you'll get as a member. You'll get to be part of the Monday night Q&As, the Friday morning Q&As, and then you also get access to a lot of content on the app that we have. And then as you go up the levels, there are more and more progressive deals that we give you guys, more content, more exclusive trainings and masterminds that Dr. Steve has had throughout the years. So if you want to join, please scan that QR code, click the link below. We also have a merch store with a lot of books that we have been doing our Black Friday sale. The Black Friday sale, I think, is concluded, but you get all this stuff, and you get a discount if you sign up for the club anyway at any one of those higher levels. We also have VIP events throughout the year. Dr. Steve, you can see him in person at different places, and if you sign up for the club, you'll get a discount or get a completely free ticket. So you can see, if you go to that link, you can see all the different benefits you get right there. I don't want to bore you by listing off all the features and benefits you might get, because I know you guys have better things to do with your time. So before we transition, we'll do a quick 30-second countdown, and we'll give you guys the chance to join us over there. But we cannot wait to see all of our courageous conservatives, all of our Turley talkers in our private live stream in 30 seconds. So we will see y'all over there.